The Pentagon has confirmed that they have indeed shot down another one out of the sky. The problem is they're not confirming what it is, and instead they're just calling it an object. Now I wonder why there's all of a sudden more stuff appearing in our airspace. I'm even more concerned about what could possibly be dropped out of these aircrafts. With just a few days left, President Biden just confirmed that he will be visiting Poland to mark the anniversary of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, just a day after saying that he might skip the trip. It looks as if he wants to send a message to Ukraine that the United States, or at least our taxpayer money, will continue to support the war. Well, as an American citizen, do you feel as though we're being neglected? Because I know a lot of us continue to struggle under the current economic situation, and it's very apparent that those who are on Social Security, SSI, and SSDI continue to struggle to make ends meet. In fact, Lauren Boebert is quite literally pissed off about the state of our federal government. Lauren Boebert, she puts the federal government on blast for how their actions, or should I say their inaction, is affecting the American citizens.
And according to one disturbing report by the Federal Times, just 1 in 3 federal workers has returned to their full-time job. Equally disturbing, a leaked memo from January 2021 to then Chief of Staff of the Department of Health and Human Services showed that between 20 and 30% of the department's employees did not log into work on any given day between March and December of 2020. This negatively impacts all of our constituents. The VA has been incredibly slow to fulfill records requests that our veterans can get the care that they need, the care that they deserve. The Social Security Administration faces a massive backlog of appeals, and as of last month, the IRS had a backlog of 2.5 million returns from 2022 that are still unprocessed.
Lauren Boebert's leaked memo revealed just how much of nothing the federal government is doing for the American people, and that they just don't care. More than 100,000 layoffs have already taken place since the start of this year. Congress continues to collect a regular paycheck every 2 weeks for not even showing up for work. I can see why the average American is pissed off that the average congressman earns well over $171,000 per year to basically do nothing. Is that fair? I mean, will any of you guys continue to get paid if you stop showing up for work like Congress? We've also seen a lot of people continue to borrow on their credit cards just to afford food. So it's apt to ask what their plans are for us. Comment a quick yes or no on that one. And the most recent missile attack from Russia crossed over Moldovan airspace. Now this is scary stuff because this is how wars are started. Now before I continue, please take a second, smash the like button for the video. Totally helps out with the YouTube algorithm and to make sure that the right people get this content. And if you're in need of your daily dose of the truth when it comes to what's going on in Washington, D.C., global happenings, the stock market, the housing market, Social Security, SSI, SSDI, SNAP, and EBT, and of course the state of our economy and anything that affects our lives, our families, and our bank accounts, be sure to subscribe to the channel and also make sure your notification bell is turned on. And if you own a home, make sure your home is protected. Get your free home warranty quote. There's a link in the description down below this video. Elon Musk has just limited Ukraine's access to Starlink, not because the government pretty much told him to suck it up and keep paying for this access, but instead Elon Musk and his team have said that they don't want their company being linked to drones, war crimes, and murder.
Elon Musk's company SpaceX said that it is curbing use of its Starlink satellite communications service by the Ukrainian military. Apparently, Ukraine's use of Starlink to guide drone attacks against Russian forces is a no-go. The question is, why now? SpaceX sent thousands of Starlink terminals to Ukraine last year to provide internet communication.
The explanation from the president of SpaceX, Gwen Shotwell, was short and sweet. She said, quote, "Using Starlink with drones went beyond the scope of an agreement SpaceX has with the Ukrainian government. It was never intended to be weaponized," end quote. The change of their access comes with videos that went viral on Twitter where drones with cameras showed footage of attacks on Russian soldiers using their access to Starlink. Now, speaking of Russia, a few missiles were recently seen over Moldova as they continue their aerial attacks against the Ukraine. Moldova's defense ministry has already called on the Russian ambassador to explain this incident. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, together with one of his top generals, have also said that missiles also flew above Romania and even added that these missiles represent a challenge to NATO as Romania is a member. And the claim has already been denied by Romania. Man, doesn't it feel as if they're pushing for another world war, even going so far as to lie? Well, what goes around comes around, as the positive words from different nations of the European Union to provide fighter jets to Ukraine may have just been words. There's even one instance where Zelensky seems to have held back his tears.
Слава Україні!
Translated, this means glory to Ukraine, glory to the heroes. The European Union gave no comment to Zelensky regarding the sending of fighter jets. Now, while that's not a sure thing, this is. The Pentagon has just confirmed the shooting of another high-altitude object over the waters off Alaska recently after orders came in from President Biden himself. The object was the size of a car, and after it was confirmed that it was unmanned, an F-22 fighter jet shot it down out of the sky. National Security Council spokesperson John Kirby said that this one was much smaller compared to the spy balloon that they previously took down, and that they don't really have a clue as to who owns it. Now, in contrast, we're pretty certain that the spy balloon from China did indeed have equipment on it that could be used for surveillance. Now, of course, based on what I'm seeing in the comments, a lot of people that I've spoken to, they're questioning, is this really China's balloon? Now, it's also been assessed by a senior U.S. official that China had targeted more than 40 countries with their balloon surveillance program, and that this program extends across 5 continents. China has again denied any allegations and only said that this is the United States waging information warfare against Beijing. I guess that kind of supports the whole argument that people are saying, hey, I don't even think that this is really Chinese balloon. Anyway, a senior international defense researcher, Timothy Heath, he said that the balloons are difficult to detect and have an advantage compared to satellites. He added this, quote, "Newer technologies allow little motors to be attached so that you can make adjustments to the position of the balloon, and then they can stay in a place for quite a while. Once you've identified a satellite in space, you can track its orbit and you can accurately predict when it will pass and when it will not be watching." End quote. This may explain why China relied on this kind of technology instead of satellites, since they're a whole lot harder to find. President Biden, on the other hand, he pretty much downplayed the whole existence of the spy balloon.
It's not a major breach. I mean, look, it's a violation of international law. It's our airspace. And once it comes in our space, we can do what we want with it.
But when you think about it, didn't they breach our privacy? Now, at this point, we don't even know what information was taken, but I kind of feel like the president is taking this way too lightly. But what do you guys think? On second thought, it might be a smaller breach compared to leaving secret documents at home. But what do I know? Now, on the topic of classified documents being left at home, former Vice President Mike Pence had his Indiana property searched recently, where new official papers were found, which included at least one with classified markings. The search was done while the former vice president was in California with one of his lawyers present. It took the Department of Justice 5 hours to go through Pence's belongings, with the documents being found in the box, which means that Pence may not have even been able to go through them himself. Both President Joe Biden and Governor Ron DeSantis have not officially made their bid for the White House come 2024, but it does look like there's already a rift between them even before the race begins. In a recent event where governors from both parties met with President Biden at the White House to talk about the nation's economic health, a notable absentee was Governor Ron DeSantis. Many see him as the actual threat to Democrats and their aspirations to control the Oval Office next year. Jose Parra, a Florida Democratic strategist, said this, quote, "DeSantis is the bigger threat for the Biden ticket for sure. You see it in the DNC's emails and the attacks that they're leveling constantly against DeSantis. DeSantis is Trump, but in a much better package, more polished and disciplined, and that makes him more dangerous," end quote. Trump also sees Ron DeSantis as an adversary for him, which puts the governor in a pretty tight spot against a former and current president of the United States. That is, if he ever announces his intentions to run for president. On that note, President Biden has just confirmed a visit to Poland after initially saying that he might skip the trip. As per John Kirby, the White House National Security Council spokesman, the trip would, quote, "make clear to Ukrainian people, most particularly the United States is going to continue to stand by them going forward," end quote. Now, I really have a feeling that jet fighters are going to be announced pretty soon for Ukraine, especially since Zelensky hasn't had much luck with the whole EU situation. But what do you guys think is going to happen when it comes to more aid for their country? Are we going to be shelling out more US taxpayer dollars over there? I know someone who does need help, and I know that a lot of you are watching right now. As we continue to run out of good paying opportunities, savings dries up, credit card debt building, and layoffs at the ready, it's kind of hard to be optimistic. But were you guys aware that financial freedom is an email away? Now, if you want to talk about budgeting, investments, and real estate or the stock market, perhaps creating side hustles and small businesses that could potentially give us multiple streams of income, feel free to join us over in the Patreon community. The road to financial independence is not smooth, but it's a road worth taking. Now, before I go, please take a second, drop a thumbs up for the video, and don't forget to subscribe for your daily dose of the truth. I really appreciate you guys watching. Please be kind to one another, and I'll see you on the next video.